Good morning, everyone. It's Tess, and today is tip 231. And today I decided I was going to talk about fear and kind of trying to shift back to that childhood place of wonder and excitement. And I've been thinking about this because a lot in Doc V lately we've been talking about how to put your mind in the right place and to be thinking more optimistically and have more self-confidence and self-worth. And we all know that hi, Thomas. And I know we all like that idea of doing new things and of moving forward, but we all kind of also live in a place where we deal with a lot of fear in our lives. And what I decided is I actually got out of my Doc V books and I pulled up an article from Psychology Today from last year, from 2020. And it was talking about why do you have fear of change and ways to overcome it. And it kind of, in a lot of ways, it reminded me of going back to that place of childhood anticipation and excitement for the things that you don't know. Because if you think about a child, the child has to overcome a lot of things. They have to learn to walk, they learn to eat, they learn to communicate. So there's so many areas that's almost too bad that we can't hold on to that excitement of learning that happens as a child. So I wanted to see what kind of things that they recommended in this article, because for a lot of us that are part of the change, well, hi, you Pender, good to see you. For a lot of us that are in the challenge, or that we're battling with weight loss or making changes in our life, we have to get back to that childhood wonder, that place of excitement, that place of wanting new things. So what I kind of found in this article is it said neuroscience shows that uncertainty feels similar to failure. And so that idea of making change and uncertainty is equated to fear, failure, and that's why we tend to get stuck in it. So this article is trying to give some pointers on how to get unstuck. And I think a big part of it is trying to go back to that place of childhood wonder, of excitement about learning new things. And what this one kind of talked about is, if you think about it, we all know people in our lives that have stayed in toxic relationships because they were afraid if they could make it on their own. They stayed in jobs that made them unhappy, or they didn't go for the promotions because they were uncertain. I've even, in some of my other studies, found out that even based on whether you're a male or a female, a male will apply for a job if he's got 50% of the skills, and for females, they tend to wait until they have 90 or 100% of the skills before they'll apply for the next level up. So there's a lot of things that tend to hold us back, and we have to learn to be more agile and more able to move and to find more excitement in the journey. I think our biggest obstacle is that we don't enjoy the journey, and that's something I've had to kind of readjust in the past year and a half. Is there needs to be excitement about learning new things and about moving forward. I've always loved to learn and I've always loved to study, but I never took it past the point of studying and learning and implementing. So I guess that's what I've been focusing a lot on, is instead of coming up with 200 million reasons why something can't work, I need to move forward to ways that it can work. So where does fear from change come from? It goes back to childhood experiences. It goes back to family views, personal outlooks, current conditions. It becomes that we are comfortable with what we know instead of what we don't know. They say it's kind of back to that place of wanting to be in control. So I kept thinking, somewhere along the line, from being that child in the wonder and excitement of learning everything new in life, we close off and we don't experience all the new things. So I'm going to shift my life back to that one of childhood wonder. I want everything to be exciting and new and fun. Yes, there's going to be days where it isn't exciting and fun, but I want to try to live my life in that place of excitement and fun. They do give some certain things that you can do, and they say that it has to do with like hypnotherapy or different types of therapy. And I was kind of thinking about a lot that we've done in Doc V's, is that even therapy, you can kind of think of mentors. Mentors are a good tool to use because they've done what you're trying to do, so it can give you a comfort to overcome fear if you are moving into new arenas. I've connected with a lot of different people in the past year, and they've helped give me confidence to take steps that I probably would have stewed on even longer than what I did while I was working with them. Embracing vulnerability, that is hard sometimes too, because we like that control. I think this is critical. Break things into smaller pieces. We talked about this in group yesterday, but for me, I just worry about losing a teeny bit more weight. I can't look at the big picture, and we were talking about how some people looking at that big picture overwhelms them. You just take a piece at a time, and then when you can succeed at that little piece, when you look backwards 6 months from now, you're amazed at how far you've come. But if you get stuck on the 6-month picture and you're not making that daily progress, time, well, hello, Mr. Glenn. Oh, Tessie Pooh. My goddaughter I always called Pooh Bear. But we do want to kind of support ourselves with people that encourage us to make changes. And the tribe, the V tribe, is full of that. And the mentors, I think, is a great tool because it helps us to overcome those obstacles, those things that scare us. So if we get back to that place of childhood wonder and excitement about the new things, it just makes this whole journey has been a lot more fun for me since I connected with the V tribe, and I've connected with Doc V and like Law of Attraction, because I'm finding things to enjoy about the journey. I'm finding it, instead of being a big fear to overcome, it's become a new adventure to enjoy. So that's what I'm going to try to do, is turn the control, turn the fear into joy and excitement about overcoming something that I haven't overcome before. It does say practice what ifs. In my case, I have to be careful not to practice too many what ifs, because I try to solve every possible scenario before taking a step. You want to be taking steps and then solving little what ifs as you go along the path. Repetition, we know that's true. Get up every day and attempt it again. If yesterday didn't work, today you'll get a little bit further than you did yesterday. So you just never give up. And then it says reward yourself, and be careful what you reward yourself with, but maybe rewarding yourself is with a mentor, with a new book, or with a new program, or with a trip, an educational trip, a training trip. It does say that asking the right questions is important, but I think in some cases you need the mentoring or the groups to help you, because I don't know that we always know what the right questions are. It says that you can do this by like putting together a list of possible outcomes and then try to think of what the worst case scenario is if you face one of those outcomes. You can also write down from the list, you can do some research to mitigate the results. So if you find the worst possible outcomes and you mitigate the results of it, you can move forward. And I kind of heard somebody talk about that they got to a point in their life where they knew that they were overwhelmed with work, and it was like an accounting type person. So what happened is a CPA or something, which we all have these crazy busy seasons, and he had a business, but he wanted to walk away from it for a month. So in then walking away from it, he had to think of worst case scenarios. And he's like, well, if the IRS contacts me, I just have the emails forwarded to someone. If that doesn't work, then I just deal with the fines and the penalties, or I'll move forward. So it was kind of interesting that when he looked at it differently. But this particular person, I wish I could remember who it was now. I can't remember if it was Doc V, Chris Nagel, or Law of Attraction, but one of those groups did a video, and this particular guy said that when he went on the trip for 1 month, it turned into 1 year. So all of the things he was afraid to overcome, he overcame them, and he actually walked away from his business for a year and came back refreshed and actually took things next level, because he was able to open up his creativity and open up his windows to new opportunities. I know we can't all do that, but it just kind of shows you that he was afraid to go for 30 days, and he actually ended up around the world for a year. It says be present. I know that's important for all of us. We miss a lot of things because we're not here in the moment. We're thinking about 3 weeks from now. We have to be here right now. What can I do this minute to make things better going forward? It does talk about the stages of change. And the first stage of change is anticipation, and that's probably a good planning stage, but don't get caught up in that stage to where you don't move forward. Regression, that's where you start that moment where things turn worse before they get better, and that's when you can kind of have the fears that can kind of stumble you up and you get stuck. Well, if you're in that stage, if you don't start moving forward, you're going to be stuck in the pit for too long, and you do want to get out of that and move forward. So they say anticipation, regression. So you want to push through that regression fast so that you get to number 3, which is the breakthrough. And when you hit that breakthrough, they say reward yourself and recognize you had a breakthrough. Big or small, it's moving you forward, and it's something to be excited about. And as you get that breakthrough, it's a consolidation into your everyday life. It will become part of your normal routine, and then you're ready to kind of move into the next one. That's why it's kind of good if you take this quick 4 steps, just move forward, and you can overcome small obstacles quicker, and it doesn't become overwhelming. Because I know I mentioned it earlier, but we talked about it in group. Are you going to look at, let's just say, are you going to look at starting a new business, or are you just going to look at maybe filing the first paperwork to get an identification number? It's a lot easier if you just take it a step at a time. And for me, I found this past year, just looking at the first step that I need to make is a lot more easier than trying to worry about it. That way I take the one step. If I have a stumbling block, I address the stumbling block, I get to the breakthrough, and then I get to consolidate it in and move on to the next step. But if I made it about opening the doors and having the business going, I'd probably be still circling in it. So break it down, and little by little you'll move forward. And then it just says you keep bringing it together. If you make these small obstacles, you anticipate, you think about, you adopt, and then you incorporate it into your life. If you keep repeating this for small step after small step after small step, you do look back and you're amazed at what happened in a year. I'll say for me, that happened in joining the challenge. I was afraid of gaining weight. I got involved in the challenge. My weight loss is very slow, very small amounts every single week. I do have stumble-ups. I do have obstacles I have to overcome. But when I look back at over a year, I'm over 45 pounds down. So if I had discounted that tiny little loss of 0.2 or 0.4 or whatever week to week, it wouldn't have got me to where I'm at today. So take a look at the small things. Don't get caught up too long in trying to figure out all the what ifs. Just take that step and address the what ifs as you go. Then you'll have that breakthrough, incorporate it in, and move on to the next one. You'll find you get a lot farther, a lot faster. So today I just wanted to talk about that, because the idea of overcoming fear and probably changing that word. I don't want to have fear. I want to have excitement and joy about the new opportunities out there. I want that childlike hunger for something more than what I have today. And that's what I want for all of you. Go back to that childhood hunger of learning something new. Squash the fear and childlike hunger. And let's change the world together. Thank you, and have a great day.